All right, let's get into a story from Genesis that honestly feels more like a high-stakes thriller. We've got a famous prophet, his wife, and a single lie that's so dangerous it nearly brings down an entire kingdom. So this really is the central question of the whole story, isn't it? What actually happens when one person's fear, a prophet's fear no less, creates a massive kingdom-wide crisis? Let's dive in and see how this all plays out.
So, it all kicks off with a journey and a lie. Just one simple deception that very quickly spirals out of control and turns into a royal problem with some pretty serious divine consequences.
Okay, so here's how it all goes down, and it happens fast. Step 1, Abraham and Sarah show up in a new place, the land of Gerar. Step 2, Abraham tells this lie saying, "She's my sister." And boom, step 3, the immediate result. The local king, Abimelek, takes Sarah into his palace. Just like that, the trap is set. Now, you might be asking, why would he do that? Well, it wasn't some kind of master plan to be malicious. It came from pure, raw fear. He was just terrified, thinking, these guys are going to kill me to get to my wife. The whole "she's my sister" thing, it was just a survival tactic, plain and simple. Just when you think things can't get any more complicated, the whole story takes this huge, dramatic turn. The problem escalates from a human mess to a full-blown divine crisis, and it all happens in a single night. And this is the pivot point. Abimelek has no idea what's really going on. He's totally in the dark. But then, that night, he gets a dream, a message from God that is about to change absolutely everything. Whoa, can you even imagine hearing that in a dream? It's not a suggestion. It's not a warning. It's basically a death sentence. God tells Abimelek in no uncertain terms, hey, that woman you took, she's married. And because of that, you are a dead man. Abimelek's reaction is instant. It's panic. And he pleads his case, not just for himself, but for his entire nation. He's basically saying, wait, are you really going to punish all of us for a crime we didn't even know we were committing? He's claiming total innocence here. And God's reply is just fascinating. On the one hand, God says, yeah, I know you're innocent. In fact, I'm the one who kept you from sinning. So, validation. But on the other hand, the ultimatum is absolutely brutal. She's a prophet's wife. Give her back, or you and everyone connected to you will die. His innocence is recognized, but the consequence is still death. Okay, so the divine warning is over. Now comes the human fallout. The king, who has just woken up from a dream threatening his life, has to go and confront the very man who caused this whole mess. And Abimelek does not mess around. The text says early the next morning. You can just feel the urgency, the terror, as he calls Abraham in to answer for what he's done. This quote just perfectly captures Abimelek's point of view. His accusation is so sharp. He doesn't just say, "Why did you lie?" He asks, "What have you done to us?" He sees Abraham's personal lie as a national security threat, something that's brought incredible danger to his entire kingdom. And here you see the whole confrontation laid out. On one side, you have Abimelek's completely justified anger. You brought this guilt on us. On the other, Abraham's defense. First, he was afraid for his life, and then he throws in this little technicality. Well, she is actually my half-sister. It's kind of true. So after that incredibly tense showdown, how do you even begin to clean up a mess this huge? Well, the final part of our story is all about making things right. And it turns out the price for this kind of deception is pretty steep. Abimelek's response here is just stunning. He doesn't just give Sarah back. The king, the guy who was wronged, actually showers Abraham with gifts. He gives him livestock, slaves, and even offers him prime real estate, telling him he can live anywhere he wants. It's an incredible gesture of goodwill. And on top of all that, there's this very specific payment, 1,000 shekels of silver. This wasn't just some random amount of cash. It was a huge sum of money meant for a very specific purpose. And get this, Abimelek gives this money directly to Sarah. He says right to her, this is to cover the offense against you. It's public proof that her honor is restored. He wants to make sure that everyone knows she is completely and totally vindicated. And here we have the ultimate irony of the whole story. After everything that's happened, the final piece of the puzzle requires Abraham, the guy whose lie caused the entire crisis in the first place, to step up and act as a prophet and pray for the king's household to be healed. And this is where we learn the very real physical consequence of Abraham's lie. It turns out God had actually made the women in Abimelek's household infertile because of this. It was only after Abraham prayed that they were healed. It shows the divine punishment was real, and fixing it took both human amends and a spiritual solution. So as we wrap this up, we're left with this really challenging question. On the one hand, you have Abraham, the prophet of God, who lies because he's afraid. On the other, you have this foreign king, Abimelek, who acts with so much honor and integrity, even when he was the one who was wronged. It really makes you stop and think, who was the truly righteous one in the story?